Trace of the night on the way back down from the sky where you left my soul. Can you help me fly? I can't resist, 'cause you have got a hold on me. And all these thoughts, when you are here, you light up the dark sides. To live in the night shine, you take my life and light every side. You fade the dark inside. The living night shines. And the feeling's gone and I am left alone, with a trace of the night on the way back down from the sky where you left my soul. Can you help me fly? I can't resist, 'cause you have got a hold on me. And all these thoughts, when you are here, you light up the dark sides. To live in the night shine, you take my life and light every side. You fade the dark inside. The living night shines.
Hello and welcome into the unofficial broadcast of the LMS between Rise Gaming and between the Flash Wolves. I'm Alex, Magical Voice, Wielden, joined in by Stuart, Cyn McLeod. Stuart, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited to see how this game is going to go with between Flash Wolves and Raze Gaming. Raze coming off the 2 wins so far against Machi, I believe, and of course the other one coming up against the YE Spider, the team that Flash Wolves lost 2-0 against yesterday in a surprise upset with these 2 subs having to be played. So we'll get right back into this one, as I really think Raze can take it.
Yeah, I agree, but we are getting into the bans already flying through it with the LeBlanc, Syndra, Lee Sin banned away by Rise Gaming, and then we have the Zac, Orion, and finally the Kled being banned away by Flash Wolves, aiming at PK, who is now hovering that Galio.
The Kled is definitely going to be taken away from PK. He has played it once so far. It was pretty exciting, but this Galio pick, yes. Galio, I think, is the most broken champ besides Zac right now.
Yeah, we've had a good conversation about that on how you feel about him in the mid lane, which is a massive possibility. PK has played a lot of Sejuani, and especially in their win over Machi the other day. But now, Flash Wolves, they've locked in that Ivern and Gragas. Gragas obviously going to be the top lane.
No, don't take away from this. We're talking about Galio. I honestly think you can come up to an LCS, into the LCS as the number 10 mid laner in your league, and play on around 300 ping when everybody else is playing at 0. You will still at least go about even in lane as Galio mid lane. You do not lose to anyone. It's so easy. It's just so ridiculously easy to survive.
And look at that, it is going to be mid lane too. I love just hearing this rant, because you're not wrong. I've played Galio to a massive amount of success in the mid lane before I even saw it being played as meta, because it has such great wave clear, and that you know me, Cyn. You know me. I am the trendsetter. Everybody copies me.
Yes, everybody. I know all the LCS pros are looking at this guy Magical Voice and his solo queue profile. Ooh,
his
played
gold
Nautilus
profile.
Mid, I better try that.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is, because they all seem to follow my trends eventually, even if it doesn't make any sense. Like when I like to play Soraka mid lane, and then all of a sudden Scar stole it. I'm still salty about that one. Anyways, we're getting through the next phase of the bans with Xayah and Xayah and Zyra. That's not a lot harder than I thought it would be to say at one time.
Yeah, the Zyra lane is actually something I've not really seen ever. Something I thought would potentially work, so rather odd that is the case. However, just banning away the ADCs from Lil V, from what I know of him, it does seem like a composition where they could go back to the Sivir that we saw from him the other day. Or they could end up picking something like the Kalista that we've been seeing rise up in the support role, in the ADC role. There's still quite a few ADCs left. Taking away just Varus and Xayah.
Yeah, thinking emoji right there. But we get the Lucian being banned away, aimed towards Maple, because Lucian, one of the few champions that actually does fairly well to the mid Galio, but then Cassiopeia is going to be the actual lock-in for Maple.
Right, Maple going to be using his mana very aggressively early to trade onto PK, but PK can start off and get some magic resistance very early. He's going to have that magic shield, and there's nothing Cassiopeia can do if he jumps on top of him. Yeah. So look for the Justice Punch into Winds of War combo to take away about half of Maple's HP.
Yeah, Lil V going to go with Kog'Maw. That's a very interesting lock-in for that AD carry role. I wasn't really expecting to see that, especially with the comp, but it makes sense. And it makes sense with that Galio mid because you're going to be able to keep that Kog'Maw pretty safe, though it will have a pretty rough lane. And we'll see if Koala does lock in that Thresh.
Come on, Raze, give me the space, doggo. I'm looking forward to this game now. Seeing how the Kog'Maw will perform. It's not really the... oh, God, wow.
What?
This is Galio support.
What?
This is Galio support.
Or is it... Or
no,
is it the Talia support?
No, it's Galio support.
The Talia support was seen by Delta Fox in one of their premier games.
Delta Fox.
Yes, Delta Fox.
This is how low we've sunk on this broadcast.
Yes, we've already gone down to the lowest we possibly can. The lowest tier of NACS, talking about the possibility of Talia support. But no, it will be the Galio support.
Yeah, the Galio being moved to support this, it's definitely the most likely here. It's not something we see that often, but more so than Talia's support.
Yes, I was just more saying it because I didn't expect that to be a reality.
Yeah, I'm annoyed, but the thing is, he obviously doesn't feel comfortable into the Cassiopeia matchup where potentially Cassiopeia can put that miasma down, land the Q, and then just kite him back, and then obviously push forward and chase him down if needed to, especially with a Ghost. So maybe Wuji did not feel comfortable in this matchup. He has been known to just play the Orianna a hell of a lot recently. That is why it's on the ban list. But I'm excited to see how his Talia plays. Will it be something that plays very similar, or will it be... will the playstyle really not carry over for him, and will he struggle on this pick into Maple on this Cassiopeia?
Yeah, Maple's someone we have to keep our eyes on. He played Zed the other day when he played against the YE Spiders, and that was one of the performing members for the team. He was doing great. The problem was the rest of his team was not living up to the Flash Wolves name, so he couldn't really carry for that. But on something like a Cassiopeia that has a lot more presence in a team fight, could mean that Flash Wolves might be able to get this win here in Game 1.
Yeah, Flash Wolves might be able to try and use their composition to carry themselves to through this Game 1. But I want to see Moonblack be able to play a lot better than yesterday. He really did struggle. And Madness, of course, as well, ended up getting killed over and over again by a LeBlanc in the Game 2 of yesterday. Absolutely the worst point in his team, unfortunately for them, is a lot of pressure on him now to be able to carry them through this Game 2. So this Series 2, rather.
Yeah, and... you mentioned it before that this is going to be the time where teams like AHQ, where teams like Rise, who are trying to really make a name for themselves, they're wanting to see the Flash Wolves fall. They're wanting to get these games off of them right away because who knows how they're going to be when they're at their truest form.
Definitely looking forward to seeing how this one goes for them. But Raze is, they're definitely looking to be able to pick up a win off of the Flash Wolves. Knowing that this is a double round robin, picking up one now at least sets you at a 50-50 win rate against them. And, really, that's more than anybody was last season, so it's definitely a start.
I think what they lost...
YE Spider can do it.
Yeah, I think last split they lost a whole one game. That's it.
A whole one game?
Yeah, at least in the regular split. Yeah, and it was to HQ, and then they lost one in the playoffs to HQ, and that's it.
Yeah, HQ, the old rivals of Flash Wolves, but this season maybe looking to try and, if they pick up those couple of wins over the top of Flash Wolves, then once we get towards the latter parts of the season, maybe it could cost them, as if HQ managed to go for this 100% win rate against everybody but Flash Wolves, then Flash Wolves dropping these two series is going to end up evening out the scoreline completely. Potentially, if AHQ just managed to go 1-1 with the Flash Wolves, then they could win the league off of the fact that Flash Wolves had to run subs in their first two series.
Now, gonna just have standard starts coming in from the junglers. Karsa actually going for a 2-buff start. I'm pretty sure he went and already put his mark on to the red buff, and then went over to blue, or was it onto the chickens? I couldn't recall.
He put it onto the chickens, the red buff, and then went over to the blue. So is going to end up not getting those Raptors as his first camp. Generally, you want to get the Raptors first because it gives you so much experience early on in the game. Just the small Raptors give you level 2, so that would be seen as a reason why. But in the bot lane, we're seeing trading back and forth, but Koala can't really protect this Kog'Maw with all anything but that ultimate from him, so definitely a little bit risky. Kog'Maw without a protect the Kog'Maw composition just feels really, really rough for Raze, especially.
Look at Lava. He's already got himself in with the Justice Punch coming in from Koala, knocking up Sword Art, already getting that heal. Madness, Sword Art, they're going to be safe for now. Not landing that Cocoon was quite vital for that gank's success. So Flash Wolves will be happy to know that they're going to be surviving another day, even despite Karsa showing up, not really going to be able to go onto Lava.
Would you mind double tapping pause quickly for me?
Of course.
I believe we got. I was slightly desynced from you.
There we go.
Obviously, I don't want to be talking over the top of you when a team fight starts, so it seems.
It's all good. It's understandable. We got to make sure that this is all good. But yeah, look at this bot lane and look at the action going on consistently from Madness and Sword Art, really wanting to bully around that Galio.
Yeah, Galio just getting completely dominated in the bot lane because he doesn't have any shields. He doesn't have much poke other than his Q. And of course, as a melee auto attacker who has Relic Shield, he has to walk up to the minions to be able to even contest them. And that's going to cause his downfall in terms of getting poked out consistently.
Yeah, and talk about being poked out consistently. We see Wuji in the mid lane having a hard time against Maple, though Maple running low on mana. Not going to really be able to do too much more to the Talia. But now Lava looking for that gank on to Maple. Not really going to be able to find it successfully as Madness and Sword Art taken really low. Karsa showing up. Maybe not in time. Lil V gets out a little too far as they get the exhaust onto Karsa to keep that Kog'Maw safe. Make sure that he's not going to get any more pressure.
And Kog'Maw does have to back off there. Is going to end up costing himself a lot of his health bar by not really seeing Karsa coming in on that. I want to look quickly towards the mid lane, though, as you see Maple getting a little bit of a CS lead for himself. He's not going to have the priority base timings. This doesn't mean he's going to be able to pick... This does mean that he might be looking to stay and be able to push another couple waves, then pick up the tier, maybe pick up a health pot on top of it.
Yeah.
But generally what we'll see is the Catalyst plus tier as the early buys for the Cassiopeia.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm missing here is what you should be doing on Cassiopeia is hard pushing the first couple waves, using all your mana pool, using all of the corrupting potion slots, and getting that dark seal, so that it buffs your corrupting potion and it allows you to trade that much more effectively early on.
Yeah, and Maple has gone for that Tear of the Goddess, now having that Dark Seal as well. Gonna try to really buff up those pots as much as possible. But then Moonblack in the top lane, going back, TPing into lane with the 3 Dorn's Ring start that you usually see from the Gallios, the Gragas's of top lane, so they can really try to bully around people like PK on that Jarvan. Gonna be putting a serious amount of poke, but the Jarvan's having quite a lot of success in getting this early CS lead.
Unlike the Galio, you do not have kill pressure in this lane once you hit the triple Dorans, but you do have a lot of wave clear, and that's got to be what Moonblack is looking for as he starts to freeze up this wave.
Yeah, but the Tiamat picked up by PK. Hopefully give him a little bit more of that ability to unfreeze any wave that Moonblack will try. Garza getting himself that Scuttle Crab under that bot side river, trying to see if they can get a little bit of priority over that Drake, even though it is just the Cloud one.
Yeah, a little bit of priority over the Cloud Drake never hurts. The interesting tidbit is...
Look at the gank coming into the bot lane, right onto Madness. He flashes away, but he's going to be followed up by that Repel. First blood picked up by Lava. Going to get locked down by Sword Art, but it doesn't matter because they picked up what they needed to on Madness.
Lava takes a lot of his health bar, does run out of mana on the end, so that means that they can't prioritize Dragon at all. That is going to be Lava going back to base, but first blood going onto him with those Moby Boots early, working out, being able to get around the map. And that Ether Wisp as well now he's picking up for himself, going to help him even more. But the thing I'm worried about for Raze Gaming right now is how much is Wuji going to be able to hold this mid lane? He's already struggling against Maple, and it's only really going to get worse from here as the matchup isn't... They picked into the Cassiopeia,
right,
and they picked a matchup that isn't strong into the Cassiopeia.
Wow, PK getting the flash out of Moonblack in this top lane. Really using that Jarvan to great success. Lava even being in the area, no wards for this Gragas who's already used TP. They are looking for the dive. They want to get him. No explosive casts. Getting him forced under the tower. Cocoon gonna land. They have the damage to deal with him. all Lava has to do is repel, but since PK was the one taking the aggression, they were able to get an easy kill.
Yeah, they managed to get that one. Blowing Moonblack's flash just before, as you were saying, did set them up so well for it. This could potentially be first tower going down top lane if it's done quick enough. If not, then at least it's a hefty chunk of damage taken away from it. And all is taken in return is marking the red buff of Elise from Casa, who then backs out, and it looks like he's still going to get this red buff for himself. But
yeah, but is that really a win when you're comparing towers to red buffs? I mean, even the dragon would have been at least something.
Yeah, but I mean, at least he can look to give this over to at least either the Cassiopeia or the Caitlyn, as that buff is going to be sitting there available, and potentially Maple is looking to pick this up and dominate the mid lane even more.
Ping's
if
coming
not,
on.
it's going to be madness.
Yeah, the pings were on to that Cloud Drake in the end. Flash Wolves do want to go for that objective, while Rise, they're just looking to give that blue buff over to Wuji, try to help out the Talia, who's been having a really rough lane into Maple.
Man, it's Raise, not Rise. Come on.
Rise.
Raise.
Raise. Raise.
Raise.
Rise.
Raise.
Raise. Rise. I'm too used to saying Rise when it comes to League of Legends. You know? It's just one of those things you just can't beat, that internal struggle of just saying Rise and now it's a Raise, and you're just like, what has my life become? Where am I? As we
yeah, Rye Bread, Rise Gaming.
It's Riot sponsored Rise Gaming.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a conspiracy.
Oh, is that what this is? That's why it's Raise, because it's a conspiracy that really they are part of the Riot government.
Yeah, of course. And as we know, Riot is run by Singed, so.
Oh yes, this is true. But now we're gonna get back to the game. PK
they did get that first tower top lane for themselves, so a hefty gold lead in the pocket of Raze Gaming.
Yes, Rays have quite a good lead, as Lava, even in the area, looking for another gank into the bot lane. Going to use that Justice Punch, getting the flash out of Sword Art, landing the cocoon, but not really going to be followed up as they just use the repel to get Lava out of there. Daisy slapped into the rift by Carson, locking down Koala, trying to see what they can do. They get the flash out of Lil V, keeping that puppy mob
Where are the
safe.
TPs?
No TPs used by either squad. That is very odd.
That seems very tempered right now. Definitely wanting to keep PK in the top lane for some unknown reason. He had his ultimate available. Potentially could have set up a play there. And I guess they just don't want to.
Maybe they didn't feel comfortable enough going for that fight. It is Kog'Maw. He is only sitting on that Bilgewater Cutlass, maybe not feeling like they could win that fight effectively, especially since we did see Wuji not even making any attempt to go for a roam like Talia's normally would try to go for.
Well, PK looking at this mid lane, looking at Maple really aggressively here, potentially trying to find that big ultimate, but he is going to back off into the jungle for now.
Can we just talk about how disturbing the Candy King Iron skin is?
When he eats. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
That is absolutely disturbing that he just...
With how this cast is going, how far off are we from talking about hexagons right now?
There is no Protroid or Camille in this game. I think we're pretty safe about that. You did mention that, but we're going to talk about this Rift Herald instead, that is being started up by Raze Gaming.
Hey, he did it!
I did it. That was a struggle. Yeah. That was an internal struggle. I can feel it.
I could hear the pain in your voice, but Moonblack potentially looking to try and steal this one. But between Lava and PK, this is... Oh!
That was so close.
Between Lava and PK, being able to get that buff, being able to potentially look to siege down mid or bot lane and snowball this gold advantage they got for themselves could be a very big lead for themselves. Also, Koala taking a big chunk of damage in spite of that damage reduction he's got from his W.
And when you don't really build up too much of that MR or that AP, it makes it so that damage reduction isn't quite as high as you would like it to be. He did
it's
go
scaling purely off of the MR. It definitely hurts if it's designed to hurt Galio if he's picked into something like a full AD composition.
Yes.
Or a composition where you need to build a lot of armor. So it's something I do like a lot about his kit. However, he's been picked in bot lane here, and this is why I'm hesitant, because inherently he wants to be playing against AP carries, right?
Yes.
So unless you were up against, say, a Ziggs...
which would make sense, yeah.
A Ziggs and Karma bot lane or something along those lines, then it's not really that beneficial for him, surely.
No, I definitely agree with you on that one. It is a tad bit strange. I suppose it has a lot to do with the fact that what you mentioned, where Wuji's not very comfortable on the champion, especially into the Cassiopeia matchup. But now the Rift Herald has been used by Laba into that bot lane, really trying to see if they can bully this down really hard. And look at that chunk of damage coming in.
A huge chunk from the tower, but the thing is that without the wave available, with Ivern showing up, they just have to abandon the Rift Herald entirely. And that's going to be denying all of the potential of taking that tower. So it's only chip damage they're really getting it from it for now. As PK's looking mid lane again.
Yeah, Wuji even got a good chunk onto Maple. Got to be careful though, because that miasma can be very tricky. But with Laba and PK both wrapping around the sides, they could go for this dive. They really want to. They are pulling the trigger, getting the cleanse out of Maple. Here comes the teleport. Not going to use that Petrifying Gauge to great effect. They even use the flash taunt just to help secure the kill.
PK coming in with that big ultimate, being able to pick it up for himself. And that's going to be the kill, going over into his pocket, I believe, after that. And being able to get a little bit more of an advantage in this matchup against Moonblack for himself isn't going to hurt him at all. It's going to definitely provide a lot more of that split push potential as the game goes on. But Lil V taking a huge chunk of damage from Madness might even dissuade them from being able to try to take this tower.
Yeah, big problem with that kill onto Maple was that Koala actually used the flash taunt. Not really necessary because they already had the kill pretty much secured, and now they're going to lose that big initiation if they want to go for Madness or Sword Art. They have to be careful because here comes Karsa using that Justice Punch just to get themselves to safety. Teleport coming in from PK instantly scares off Flash Wolves. They don't want to go for anything when it has to do with PK.
Yeah, PK definitely playing fairly well this game with his advantage in lane. He's using that roaming potential to make Maple sit far back in lane. But it didn't matter when Laba lands the cocoon over the wall, forcing him to flash to the other side of the tower, right into the face of Wuji. It's going to definitely get him in a situation where he's a lot more comfortable. As 0-0-1 for Wuji right now, singing up Banshee's Veil first item. He definitely needs a bit more help before he's going to be one of these big carries. Potentially needs 2 more items, really, because he needs the Lost Chapter, and he still needs the Leandri's Torment, which is one of the biggest breakpoints for Taliyah.
And one thing we haven't gotten to see too much coming out of Fuji from Taliyah has to be those roams, something that is considered pretty much a staple of the kit, being able to use those Weaver tools, go down to bot lane or top lane, get easy kills. But Moonblack having such a hard time in that top lane, gotta really keep our eyes on Badness and Sword Art, see if they're gonna get ganked once again with Lava and possibly Wuji.
Definitely an interesting idea. We could see Wuji attempt to create a roam. However, it's really just going to end up costing him at the minute because he's being pushed in so hard by Maple consistently. They didn't really have much time to roam. Now maybe just getting enough AP where he can start to consider to be able to roam. So that would be really, like you say, the timing where he would be looking to head towards top lane. However, I really think he just needs another, maybe half an item.
Yeah, Sword Art getting caught out just a little bit. Weaver's Wall coming in just to cut off Karsa, and Sword Art, they're going to get the exhaust on to the Karma with that flash coming in instantly. Maple going to be jumped in the backline by PK using that hero's entrance to lock him down, get the kill onto Maple once again, making it so that all of Ray's Gaming are going to be able to have the inside track onto this tier 1 in the mid.
This is Camille's release all over again. He's OP in 3 different roles. How did this happen?
And now Koala going in really hard onto Sword Art. They got him really low. Finishing him off is going to be Lil V picking up his first kill of the game. Moonblack almost following suit, but he's just going to be able to body slam himself to safety while his tower will fall.
But the bot lane will go down in responses, but it's a 2-0, and the tower's traded 1-1. So still definitely in the favor of Ray's Gaming, as they sit 5-0 versus our undefeated champions, Flash Wolves, from last season. It's Definitely looking rough for Flash Wolves at the minute, as they still haven't. As far as I've heard, they still haven't been scrimming that much with these subs. They should be at least a little bit better looking at the next series once they bring, of course, MMD and Betty back into the roster. But this is just going to end up making them look bad by going down 0-2 after losing to YE Spider of all the teams right now. It's definitely going to cost that team image, especially, as I said, coming in as the undefeated champions of the LMS.
The biggest thing when looking at these games, well, you'd like to point at Moonblack or Madness, the subs coming in, as being like the instruments of why they're doing bad, but we can just look at Maple. 0-0 on the Cassiopeia. While he was doing great in Tabuji, he's not really doing a great job when it comes to communication with his whole team as a broad scope of everything.
The thing that really is causing a problem for him is this top lane matchup where the Jarvan provides so much dive potential mid. And everybody has to respect that, and it is just not being respected right now. But I definitely agree with you. We saw in the previous series that it was actually Casa that ended up dying a hell of a lot on the Elise pick. So it's not always been the subs causing any issues.
Yeah, and I think that just might show some flaws in Flash Wolves. In fact, Flash Wolves were touted as being one of the best teams in the entire world, and we saw, at MSI at least, that they really didn't perform up to the hype that everyone had built them up to. So now, looking at the season, looking at the flaws that are coming in with the team, with having the disciplinary actions taken against them, and now having Maple, Karsa struggling without just their whole team coming together, it might make it so that maybe they're not going to be that top team anymore. But now Moonblack getting caught out by Lava, pretty easy kill for that 6-1 for Rise Gaming. Rise. God damn it. God damn it.
One day.
It's such a struggle.
God damn it, man. Get yourself together.
I'll try.
You're a professional caster. Come on, you can do this.
I'll try to raise myself.
Elevate your level. Let's just go. Yeah. Let's just avoid any of the...
This is gonna be too much for me. Anytime we cast Raise Gaming, I'm going to struggle so much. It was like when I was struggling with AHQ. I'm still struggling with that. I'm getting better. It was bad enough when it was AHQ versus HKA. Oh god, that was horrible. I still have nightmares about that, please.
Speaking of nightmares, with Maple's tower gone, he's looking even less safe in this mid lane. He can't really afford to have much of a laning phase left to himself, as he could get dove at any point by PK. So, definitely needs to play a lot more safe. With that Cloud Dragon for themselves, they will be able to move around the map a little bit faster, and maybe back off a little bit faster. But still, it basically means the laning phase has come to an end, as they're going to be grouping up as multiple members mid lane to try and keep Maple safe and really just cover his back.
Now, if only that segue was into a game with Nocturne, that would have been absolutely beautiful. But the junglers are going to be Elise and Ivern, where we've really seen Laba just completely control this game. He's going for more of that tanky build with the Elise, trying to really match up that utility that Iverns tend to go for. But it really just shows how strong he is performing on a whole this entire season.
I'm looking across the board right now, and I'm seeing everything I find as a problem with League of Legends right now. Because we're seeing Galio, an OP champion, being played in support because he's so OP.
Yep.
We're seeing Blade of the Rune King first item on an ADC. And we're seeing Banshee's Veil first item on both mid laners.
Yep. Well, second item for Maple. He did get the Rod of Ages first, but now Madness is going to get a little bit of that engage back on them. PK was in the backline, possibly looking as the Weaver's Wall is going to cut off that Caitlyn, forcing out the flash. Bursting him down is going to be PK with that Justice coming in from Demacia.
I'm actually looking at this composition and thinking how good it would be into Olaf with the Talia wall, with the Jarvan ult.
It really,
but,
it really would be really good.
I digress. They get a kill onto Madness there. He does flash the wall, but it's not going to stop PK from just jumping over, using that PK Starstorm to absolutely stomp on his opponents over and over again. It's working out wonders for him. I'm really liking PK on this Jarvan pick.
Yeah, it could be something that we'll see heavily contested in the future, making it so that he's not on something quite as comfortable as Raze. 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 I got it. Raze Gaming. I did it this time. Raze
Just
Gaming.
erase it from your memory for now.
You know, that pun was good and bad at the same time.
I mean, isn't that the point of all puns?
This is
a
factual.
good pun. A good pun is so bad that you wonder why anybody could ever consider it funny.
Ooh, I almost thought Maple was about to get jumped right there. There was the possibility of a cocoon coming in from Elise. Could have landed that on Takarsa, but he does have the cleanse. Would have been at least safe for now, but getting that summoner off of the Cassiopeia so they could just burst her down another time would have been something immense for the team.
Yep, but they didn't. So we're gonna just move on from that and then talk about something that is happening, okay, as we see the BF sword picked up for PK, potentially building towards the GA third item. Gonna make him this really big tanky threat that can dive in, die, and then still be able to get back out with that flag and drag.
And then Moonblack going far more for that tank stance, not too surprising from the Gragas, something that you really do want to see. And then we also have Madness. He has picked up 2 full items, going Static Shiv and Infinity. Caitlyn tends to be considered one of those champions that once she gets the 2-3 item spike, that she'll be able to do a lot of damage, but being 0-2 might be a little bit too judgmental for her to be able to come back.
I'm liking this Static Shiv pickup, although we see trading heavily in the jungle. Karsa already tanky enough to be able to take the damage, and his shield doesn't go down very quickly, as Lil V takes a big chunk. Really, the frontline Kog'Maw, not what you're expecting to see.
I was just about to say, I'm not sure why he's doing that. That's very odd.
Talking about what we are expecting to see, this Static Shiv for Caitlyn is going to be able to do a lot of damage. With the cost reduction on Infinity Edge, did build that first item, and then can build the Zeal item second, so it speeds up the Static Shiv item spike a lot quicker, as it really scales, its damage really scales with that crit chance.
Gonna also allow a lot more of that wave clear, just make it so they can take out any minions that come in the way. But look at PK. Once he sees everyone show up mid, he's just like, fine, I'll get a free tower in the bot.
Yeah, definitely easy for him picking up that tower. No contesting at all by anybody. That's going to be completely free, while they continue to siege up on this mid lane tower as well. And they can just rotate around between all 3 lanes, happily clearing out vision, happily denying anything from Flash Wolves, and just choke them out of the game until they can go Baron happily, and nobody will really be able to stop them. 8,000
gold lead for Raze. There we go. I corrected myself before it came up. Raze Gaming. They have every advantage, and look at that vision control. Karsa not wanting to really step out. He fears that if he goes too far, he will be caught out. The ward not going to find and spot out Koala, who is able to sneak around the wall, staying completely safe for himself. Then a lot of damage being put right on to Sword Art, forcing him out of that jungle.
And if anybody steps forward by even a slight amount, they're getting absolutely punished for it right now, as they zoned them off of the wave with this Talia wall.
And then PK going really hard in the mid lane. He's going to lose his life. He flashes away, giving it over happily to Maple, but his team will be able to pick up that tier 2 in the top. Now going to get the collapse from Flash Wolves, who just decided to back off, not wanting to go too far into Ray's territory.
Raze.
I will get this one time. I will. I promise you this.
Okay, this is your challenge. At least once this game, be able to say it when first called upon for it.
I shall.
Okay?
I shall.
You will be able to have full pride as a caster if you manage to do it at least once.
At least once. That is the goal of life. Just one time. I can't promise more than that, but one time.
You know, in an alternate timeline, there's a you that gets it right every time, but I'm stuck with this one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But then again, that me probably also doesn't know how to pronounce Kog'Maw properly, so who knows?
Kog'Maw.
Koegma.
Yeah, since when I see the Elder Kog'Maw, I don't understand. That's not how you pronounce it, is it? Am I missing something?
Koegma?
As you see PK just going a little bit too hard, ends up taking quite a few tower shots, and then
yeah,
flashes, but it's not going to get him away.
Yeah, he's just like, yep, they're all here. I'm just going to die. I'm not going to lead them too far towards that tower. Want to allow my team to be able to take that.
Stands there and said, well, I guess I'm just gonna die then. No Java, no Galio ultimate for me, and
Yeah.
I'm dead. Thank you, team. And then this is where the team starts pinging missing on your corpse.
Yep. Koala gonna be able to find out Moonblack. They're gonna use the Weaver's Wall, trying to lock in Madness and Moonblack, who are gonna be able to just dash themselves right over that. PK wasn't in the area to cut them off with the Cataclysm. So Rise Gaming just able to put them back onto the pressure. I messed that one up. I said Rise again. I already know.
But Koala ulting 2 units forward was actually the crux of that fight for me. That was really rough for him. Just like, I think he was hoping that somebody would be able to go in, somebody would at least step a bit further forward. Ends up ulting so little distance that it didn't hit anybody, it didn't save anybody. It just seemed like a wasted ultimate.
Now coming in the siege from Raze, they're able to get the dashes back. Just
nice
getting Justice Punch back, making it so that they're safe, but they were able to get that tower. So that's all that truly matters for Raze. They want to back off, happy to get that gold into their pocket now, exploding this lead to 10,000.
Definitely a good 10k gold lead there, but it could have been worse had Moonblack not used the body slam to block the Demacian Standard into Dragon Strike from PK. And that's going to mean that nothing really comes of it, as PK just has to back off immediately. But definitely nice reaction time from Moonblack.
Yeah, and could be why he's on the roster right now, besides other many reasons.
the sub of the sub, as it were.
The sub of my sub is my sub. Is that not how the saying
substitute goes? Of my substitute, yeah. The substitute of my substitute is my starting top laner.
At least that is going to be the old adage at the Flash Wolves house for this week. They're going to just try to see if they can do that. And Madness also having a little bit of struggles, but he's making sure to keep up with that CS up on Lil V. At least doing what he can for now, being able to really clear out things with that static shiv. But you got to wonder, when is Raze going to be able to pull that trigger onto the Baron?
It's going to be coming soon, surely, but the thing is, if Flash Wolves get one good team fight, they have the Cassiopeia, they have the Ivern, they have the Caitlyn at this point in the game. They've got enough damage to be able to take Baron effectively for themselves as well. So it's not as simple as Raze Gaming just taking a team fight then taking the Baron. They've got to be really careful.
It's now Raze getting a little bit of control back around this Baron pit. Flash Wolves were trying to do what they could to just get any sort of semblance of vision in that Baron pit. We even see that control ward just all over the place, making it so that it's a lot harder for Raze to be able to truly gain control without Flash Wolves just roaming around them. But Moonblack gets himself caught out by PK and Wuji, who are just trying to burst him down. They have the damage, finally picking that one up over the Fat Man.
And finally, yeah, the Gragas does go down for a third time in the game, actually. Having the Spirit Visage for themselves, but he's already falling behind in items, as you see PK nearly on the 4 item spike.
And look at that.
Moonblack still only on 2.5.
Well, he is causing a great sort of distraction, as he's going to be able to try to get that inhibitor. His team pulls the trigger on the Baron. Sending over the Caitlyn might not have been the best choice, because now they're not going to be able to get onto that Baron, using the Weaver's Wall to knock over Karsa from the wall. Maple just chasing down to the best he can. He's stuck. He couldn't move. He was stuck in.
Oh, wow. It blew the Banshee's Veil as well, him being stuck against the wall.
That was a weird interaction. I've never seen that before.
Because he tried to wedge himself so hard into the wall that it got him stuck there, and then the Banshee's Veil gets blown. That's really interesting.
I didn't know you could do that. That's very peculiar.
Yeah, I think peculiar definitely the word. As we see now, Flash was trying to pick up a second Cloud Dragon for themselves potentially, starting to move their vision, starting to move their bodies down towards the bot side. But really, they can't afford to do it now that the bases with this Baron buff have come through. No one really able to contest any sort of wave pressure. They just have to concede a lot of the vision, but now they're stepping in as 5 towards this dragon.
And it's going to be a little bit questioning. They are down 13,000 to Raze. When you're down that much gold, you really got to question how you got here, what went wrong, and if you are even able to come back from such a mountain.
This is where Sword Art's sitting in the game, in the comms, going, "Come on, boys, we have the late game." And this is where the old mantra that at least once they hit 6 items, they can't get any stronger comes through. They may hit 6 items here, but we still have 3 item spikes left. We're gonna get stronger, right, guys?
You know,
that really is the only hope for Flash Wolves at the minute. They've got the late game scaling. They have, of course, Maple on this Cassiopeia, able to get really strong as she gets towards the 6 items. And Madness, with Casa and Sword Art to back him up, should be able to put down a lot of late game damage as well, in all seriousness.
But look at PK. He is an
absolute... He didn't even get the tower, no!
But he's an absolute monster. He's always dragging 2. His team's able to then rotate, get that mid inhibitor for themselves, and they're using the Weaver's Ball just to try to cut them off, though they cut off their own minions, sadly. Not really able to find anything at Sword Art. Just chunked out. Finally, PK finishing off that inhibitor. They're going to go for the engage from Moonblack. PK going in with the flag and drag, locking down onto Madness. They're trying to do what they can. The Hero's entrance just locking up Moonblack. He's in the middle of everyone. So is PK. They went for the flash from Maple to lock down so many members. They got the kill onto Little V. Lava having to flash himself out. Maple, he's just trying to see what he can do for the team. That is what is going to be the clinching for it, because they are going to be able to get PK. He already lost his Guardian's Angel, getting 3 kills and losing none.
Clinching. That was a clenching team fight there from Maple, probably just shutting his eyes and spamming his E key the entire time, as that would have been the game if they lost that. Managing to find at least a foothold to get back into this. But this is the late game scaling composition we were talking about from Flash Wolves. They may be 14,000 gold down, but the Caitlyn, but the shields on top of her, and of course this Cassiopeia able to put down so much damage.
Yeah, and I just want to keep an eye on Maple, because he has a great flash petrifying gaze that lands onto 4 members. It's absolutely absurd, and locking down those members and then being able to put the DPS, that's something you have to fear from Cassiopeia.
Yeah, of course, the 4-man petrifying gaze, absolutely insane to be able to put down a lot of damage. No one be able to respond. And Maple clenching that team fight, like you said, clutching that team fight rather, like you said, and clinching it for his team.
That's brutal. That is brutal, because they're so far ahead, and they really shouldn't lose a fight like that. But when you have a great ultimate coming in from Maple, proving to everyone why he's such a great player for the LMS and for Taiwan, with that ability to just be so far down, his team on the verge of losing, still able to pull off a team fight victory.
I mean, does it really matter that you are that much gold down when you have that amount of gold efficiency in your inventory, with the fully stacked Rod of Ages, with the fully stacked Seraph's Embrace, on top of the Banshee's Veil, and of course the Void Staff as well? Does it really matter that much to Maple that Wuji has these 5 items? 4 items, and the boots completed.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about Cassiopeia. Somehow she can't wear boots. I'm pretty sure you could use them as a hat. But I digress. That's not allowed. And now the push coming in from Raze once again. They're trying to see if they can just get some of these inhibitors, because they did get the towers. And this could be their chance to just end the game. Weaver's Wall going to cut off all of Flash Wolves, using the Kog'Maw to the greatest ability just to use that poke from such range. But Lil V, he had to get himself out of there, was taking a little bit too much from the distance from both Maple and from Karsa. Now using the explosive cast just to lock in the Elise, trying to do what they can. She's taking so much, they're going to pick her up. Maple getting that one for himself. Flash Wolves, they're still on the chase. They want to see if they can catch out Wuji or PK, but they're able to just run away, scurrying back to their base.
So what ends up happening is the Root Caller lands onto Lil V at the start of that, sending Daisy over the wall. Keeping Kog'Maw rooted, so Caitlyn can put a trap underneath him and get a static Shiv crit auto attack onto the Kog'Maw, taking him down to about half HP right at the start there, because nobody is body blocking anything. They're not playing front to back, they're playing back to front, and it really shows that it's flipping Raze Gaming's game upside down, as unfortunately Flash Wolves are starting to really find a foothold where you can't really push onto their inhibs.
That might be the problem that Raze are going to have. If they're not able to just crack one inhibitor, that's going to be a huge problem. They're going to have to wait for that Baron to come up and try to fight around that, but these fights despite being heavily in their favor with the gold, are still going Flash Wolves' way.
Yeah, definitely not working out for them. We're not seeing PK really land a big ultimate. Now the shields have come through. It's just really able to keep Maple and Madness alive for long enough to they don't have to worry so much about any sort of DPS coming out from from PK, from Wuji. So they really just have to hope that Lil V can carry them in the late game to raise gaming. As now he sits on top of, what is this? The Rapid Fire Cannon and Rapid Fire Cannon and Runan's Hurricane. He's building crit Cogmore here.
Huh. Interesting.
No on-hit Cogmore. Interesting indeed, but I would think about capitalizing the INT on the interesting.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's just
That's just plain old not good. Now the Elder for Baron trade going in Flash Wolves' favor, able to have that, though they only have the one cloud. And we even see Wuji.
For Talia.
Yeah, Wuji and PK just going to go for the inhibitors. They just want to have a base race. Try to see if they can finish anything off as they do pick up that Baron. PK doing a little bit of damage, but his whole team is now back inside their base, trying to just focus off Wuji and PK, only able to get 50% done to the top inhibitor.
And they do. The other team does. Flash Wolves do come out with the Elder Dragon from that, but they had to waste so much time on it that the inside track was there for Raze Gaming. They're all sitting there with the siege sub, with the waves fairly pushed in, and now they're going to sit in this brush and potentially wait for something.
Yeah, I think they were hoping that Flash Wolves might go a little bit further. Flash Wolves being a little bit smarter, saying, no, you know what, we don't win fights outside of our base, we're just going to stay here. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you just don't want to get out of bed. That's kind of how Flash Wolves are right now. They don't want to get out of bed. They're like, no, it's cool.
You know the reason that Flash Wolves isn't winning right now is, and AHQ is winning. AHQ has a puppy. Flash Wolves do not.
This is true.
This moral entity in the house is really clearly helping AHQ, and Flash Wolves with no Flash Doggo to be able to moralize them through these games without their main roster is really costing them. They do have the disciplinary actions, and dogs do help. Dogs are cool, so
they are amazing. I love dogs.
And especially if you've got the little AHQ corgi. I mean, that thing is adorable.
That corgi is adorable. Every time I see it in the advertisements, I'm just like, yes, I want that. That is what I want. Can I have 5 of those in my life, please, right now? But now, Flash Wolves, they're just going to continue to hold on to their base as long as possible. Talk about waiting out for the late game. That is what they're doing. They want to hold on as long as possible and see if Raze are really going to be able to finally crack this base. But Elder Drake about to time out. This could be the time of action for Raze.
Yeah, Raze really need a kill, but to be honest, they're going to look at that kill and think they want 5 of them in their lives. As unfortunately, they can't really end the game because there's so many shields coming down for the side of Flash Wolves that there really needs to just be one big team fight. But this is the problem when you get to this point in the game. You scale up, but you really only become active when you're turtling in your base. You lose one team fight and the game's over. So no mistakes allowed from Flash Wolves right now.
Yeah.
As the top inhib looks the next target, and bot inhib potentially going down as well.
The 4-0-1 push, getting 2 inhibitors for Raze. Yep, that is going to be very unfortunate, as now with the 2 inhibitors down, Flash Wolves are on their deathbed. They have to make a call. They have to do something, because if this last inhibitor does go down, even if they win the fight, they have no way to crack the base of Raze, and Raze are going to have everything that they possibly could want.
And of course, being able to escort these Baron buffed super minions into the base slowly and just allow this mid lane inhib to take a little bit at a time.
Look at Wuji.
He's going to force members to back off, because look at the Nexus towers right now. They're just ignoring Wuji.
Yeah, that might not be the smartest move. He's got it down to 25% health. The trigger has to be blown soon by Flash Wolves. They try to see if they can turn onto Wuji using that Gragas to just go really hard. PK, he wants to go as far as he can as well, showing that he's able to flag and drag right to the back line, getting rooted up by Karma. Not able to get anything as the 3rd and final inhibitor has fallen. Raze, they're just going to back off, buy some items, and go for one final push.
And with these 3 inhibs down, with the pressure they get from that, it's definitely a good situation to be in. But we have to look at how long it took them to be able to do that. It took the Baron buff, and it took about 10 to 15 minutes of consistent sieging at the inhibitor towers to be able to get these inhibs. And really, that just shows that Raze is just lacking a little bit of coordination right now. They weren't really using the 1-3-1 to great effectiveness, using the mobility of Talia and, of course, the teleport of PK. So maybe costing them a bit, and potentially we could see a better Flash Wolves roster or a better team try and punish that. But they're getting away with it on this day, as they currently sit, what is this? They're still 14k in the lead.
But still not ending the game.
It hasn't raised at all.
No, actually, I think it's fallen. It did get up to about 14-15 for a bit. And so not having that gold lead stay consistently in your favor, at least for the massive degree that it once was, could be a telling sign for teams watching this to be like, this is how you get raised down. You have to make sure that you just hold out to the late game to pull the old sword art, but now going in for that final fight, using the hero's entrance, but not helping out Laba at all, as he's just trying to see if he can get up. Actually going to be onto Lil V. He's just doing what he can with a lot of damage coming into the backline. Sword Art taking so much. Flash coming in from Wuji as he's trying to get away, but they're going to get Maple, trading the mid laners for the kills. The last Nexus Tower is remaining. PK, he just wants to go right onto that as Daisy's just doing what he can to zone away, but they're just bouncing around. Poor man, this next one gonna be Sword Art. He's taken out, as is the Nexus Tower. That's gonna be game 1, going over to Raze.
And Sword Art offline as he gets taken down for the last kill of that game. And that's gonna be the win over to Raze Gaming. Really big confidence boost as they take down the champions. We'll see how they transition into game 2, but looking back at this game, I really liked what they did with this Jarvan pick, where they had him hover around mid lane and just try and shut down Maple, who was actually doing really well in the early levels. Yeah, but then it just looked really rough for him towards the mid game, as he couldn't really find any footing without a tower there to support him.
Yeah, and he did great in the early, and he even did great in the late game. He was able to get that 4-man petrifying gaze to really throw things back in his team's favor, and even make it so that they pushed the game to such a length. This shows
imagine how strong it would have been for him if he actually had a mid game. Imagine how much more farm he'd have been able to get, how much quicker he'd have got to that late game scaling.
Yeah, not even Maple's final form. He has many that he can go for. And that is something we'll have to keep our eyes on, especially when it comes to game 2. If Flash Wolves are able to shore up a lot of these weaknesses in the early game, especially when it comes to just coordination with the top lane, or if PK is really going to continue his domination and just make it so he puts his influence all over the map.
Yeah, definitely see if PK can be on another one of these picks where he can impact, but for now, PK is actually going to be my MVP for the game here. He really managed to dominate the early to mid game. And in the late game, although he wasn't so important, he still managed to keep up with consistent ultimates and consistently finding the backline. Yeah,
I have to agree with you. But with that, we're going to take a short little break as we get everything ready. Well, we're not getting everything ready. They're going to. We're not in Taiwan, sadly, actually casting this. We're just doing our unofficial little thingy. But we'll be back.
PJs, you know.
Yeah, hey, you know, as long as we're comfortable enjoying some League of Legends, isn't that what truly is important in life?
I think my parents would beg to differ, but...
It's okay. But anyways, we're going to take a short little break. We'll be right back, so don't go anywhere.
Look into my eyes and show me adventures I haven't seen. Taking all the life, it hits the spot. Walking on fantasy. So take me, baby, take me to a state of mind that's made of, baby, that's made of all that we find. think we're getting close. Racing through the waves, I want to be where nobody knows. Take me, baby, take me to a state of mind that's made up, baby, that's made of all the love we find. Electric, feel it in your hands. Hypnotic, watch your body stand. Happiness, this is
trace of the night on the way back down from the sky where you left my soul. Can you help me fly? I can't resist, 'cause you have got a hold on me. And all these thoughts, when you are here, you light up the dark sides. To live in the night shine, you take my life and light every side. You fade the dark inside. The living night shines. And the feeling's gone and I am left alone with a trace of the night on the way back down from the sky where you left my soul. Can you help me fly? I can't resist, 'cause you have got a hold on me. And all these thoughts, when you are here, you light up the dark sides. To live in the night shine, you take my life and light every side. You fade the dark inside. The living night shines. Take my hand and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, you're ready to begin and just levitate.
Yeah.
You sound enthusiastic, Cyn. You seem
full
of life.
Support, man. It worked. Why did it work?
It's because it's
shouldn't
Gallia.
be allowed to work.
No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. You are 100% right about that, as we are getting into our first ban, being Oriana, followed quickly by LeBlanc and Ivern.
Yeah, definitely an interesting start to the bans. Getting rid of Ivern this time for themselves, ironically, the Flash Wolves choosing to take that away from Karsa, even though it did enable them to become this really strong force in the late game, maybe looking for something with a lot more early game impact.
Yeah, it could be, as we see a lot of mid laners have been banned. Syndra being banned away by Raze, and then Gragas.
Well, Zac, right?
Yeah, there's no Zac. Look at that. It's Gragas, then Lee Sin. Zac completely open. We'll see if Flash Wolves do opt. Yep, they do. Gonna give that over to Karsa.
So this is going to be lower on Elise, surely, because you need an early impact jungler to play into the Zac. I'd really like to see something like the Thresh picked up for Raze Gaming this game, as the Thresh really shuts down the Zac with that Flay being able to knock him out of his jump. Yeah. Of course, the Hook doing the same, and being able to use your Lantern for utility.
I don't know if I like that Talia hover. Kind of gets me a little bit worried. I know it's just a hover. You can always switch away, but no, gonna be locked in with that Galio as well.
They're not even using the Galio mid as a potential flex. Maybe they're just fully aware that Wuji doesn't play this, and everybody's aware that Wuji doesn't play this.
But I
this
could have
does
sworn
mean
he
that this
played
could
it.
be going for PK and Koala.
Yeah, I could have sworn he did play it though.
The Galio mid lane.
Yeah, I thought he did against Y Spiders. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't understand why they'd lock into the especially this early.
Yeah, and especially with how it played. Yeah, I'm very curious. But now Varus going to be locked in. Madness wanting to change things up. Didn't feel quite confident on that Caitlyn. But the Varus, very similar in playstyle.
Alright, so what I want to see is a mobile ADC, whether it be Ezreal, Lucian, just something that has mobility to be able to dodge either the Chains of Corruption or the Elastic Slingshot without having to give up the flash, because that's going to be so crucial here. If they get hit by the Chains of Corruption, and then Zac can come in for a gank, or if Zac comes in, forces a flash, and then they can land the Chains of Corruption, it's going to end up really turning how this bot lane goes. But I don't really know who the opponent could be yet. I suspect potentially in that scenario something like Lucian, and the support I'd love to see something like Zyra come along, but with the changes to Doran's shield, potentially looking for something a lot less aggressive and a lot more utility. So, for example, Lucian Braum sounds like an idea, but Braum doesn't play particularly well into the Tahm Kench.
No. Now Jarvan and Kled gonna both be benched. Interesting bans coming in from Raze, because they played that very efficiently with PK on that Jarvan, but then Kled, maybe Moonblack just not feeling very comfortable into that matchup, not wanting to have to deal with that despite the Fiora still being left open. As Zed going to be aimed right at Maple. We saw what Maple is capable of when he has his hands on that Zed. And
what Maple is capable of, he definitely had a strong performance in the previous game, but in the end, his team fell so far behind that he couldn't really do anything, as unfortunately the enemy team just snowballed so far ahead to the point where he couldn't even get a solo kill, although his survivability and his trickiness was still something to behold.
And there goes the Fiora ban from Flash Wolves, which very surprises me. And we have a little bit of mobility now. Lil V going to be on that Xayah, not banned away at all. Rakan still left open, so the duo could be a possibility if Raze want to go for that. That is left completely free, as Vladimir now being hovered by the Flash Wolves.
I still want the Thresh as the support here.
Yeah, it definitely would help out, especially against that Zac. But Vlad will be locked in, can be flexed to Moonblack or be in Maple's hands. Not
that
really.
Flex will be immediately announced, so we'll find out what will be locked in the other lane right now, and that's going to be the
Yeah, look at that. Going to be the Kassadin and that Vladimir. Still, even if you throw it back way into the olden days, could be a flex. I highly doubt that. It's most likely going to be.
Let's go Talia's support. Come on, please, please give me Talia's support.
You can tell Cyn very much wants this. This is kind of what he's feeling, and the Camille locked in for Koala.
I imagine that's going to be going for PK here.
Yep.
But this is, the Vladimir in the top lane that we've been seeing Moonblack playing a little bit of. Since you can go for this Doran Shield, it just means you survive lanes so easily. And actually, it does mean the same for Camille.
Yes.
Because Camille did have some sustain troubles in lane, but now she's got that... the extra health regen early. It should really help her get to these big item spikes.
Looking at each of the teams, I especially want to look at Koala being on that Galio support. Second game in a row, but into the matchup of the Vars and the Tahm Kench. I feel like this actually is a good move coming in from Raze. They have that ability to make it so that when Sword Art tries to eat Madness, keep him safe, he can still taunt him and say, no, you're not allowed to leave just yet.
So if you save your substitutes with Tom Kench. Are you Kenching the bench?
Ooh. These are the real questions in life. We have to think about this. We really have to think, are you Kenching the bench or are you benching the Kench? Or are you unbenching the Kench and Kenching the bench by unbenching the Kench?
Or are you Kenching the bench by unbenching the Kench?
Oof. These are some hard-hitting questions that we really have to ask ourselves as we are getting ready for this exciting. Well, I don't sound exciting because if Flash Wolves lose again, it'll be such a horrible start for them to start the season off 0-4. And so I'm not too excited to see such a premier team in the LMS start to such a weak season beginning.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for them, and due to this disciplinary action, choosing to prioritize actually the respect the team has for the organization by punishing the players over this early season success. And although I can see some benefits to that, obviously it is going to cost them as they lost to the Hawaii Spiders already. And already down 1-0 to Rays, it could get even worse for them.
Yeah, and it seems like with these cheese tactics, trying to really go with... That's an interesting start coming in from Maple with that Doran shield. I'm pretty sure that's what Cyn was watching about over there.
No, I'm looking at Moonblack starting with the Dark Seal. I've seen this a little bit in solo queue, but I mean, against Camille, are you going for Dark Seal?
That actually is kind of
Camille
strange.
Vladimir?
Well, that is strange if you think about it, because you've got to expect that PK is going to go for that Doran shield, which means that that damage over time is actually going to consistently refresh the health that she gains.
Of course, that's definitely the case, and also, it gives him 100 mana. Yes.
Well,
that provides so much use. It's like building Iceborne Gauntlet on Karsa. I don't...
You know, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It would be very strange to see. I cannot fathom the reasons why he's opted for that, but with this nice leash coming in for Alaba, going to really help out that Elise. And I would like to see some early aggression coming in from the Elise, trying to put down Karsa on that Zac as quickly as possible, because we know what's going to happen as the game progresses when Zac's really able to come completely online.
We saw this exactly yesterday as well. Just it was actually the other way around, and Karsa was trying to punish the opposing jungler, but going straight from the enemy Raptors into your blue. But the ward in the Pixel Brush is going to spot out Plaba on his way in. This is going to mean that Karsa actually gets to steal his wolves as well. So this is not really going to come out as any benefit for Lava whatsoever, apart from the fact that the tempo advantage he already had is being retained.
Though I'm pretty sure that Karsa also went over ward in that Pixel Bush. So they both know each other's movements. They're just going to both take away that jungle completely from one another. Really try to make it so that they're the ones with the lead. But as Lava was able to get both the Grump and the Wolves now on top of that blue, while Karsa seems to only be going for that blue and Wolves no Grump, going to give a little bit of an edge over to the Elise.
This set play is really odd to look at, and I'm interested to see what happens now as they look. We'll definitely see Lava start to head back towards the Scuttle Crab, then towards his red buff. The tempo is about even right now, maybe at least a few seconds ahead. But it's not really gone anywhere. It's just kind of traded even, and now Karsa's actually going to go back in for the comp.
That is very interesting, and with that tempo for Lava, this is really where we've been putting so much focus, because it's fascinating to watch that these two junglers are really trying to make sure that they get a little bit of that edge. And I think it's going to benefit Karsa a little bit more, because we talked about at least wanting to find out the Zac, but also with these giant pressures being built up from top and mid by Rays, they do have a little bit of a potential to be ganked by Karsa if the need comes soon.
PK denying the Moonblack being able to get that empowered Crimson Rush onto him. He's going to lose a lot of health, and Camille's actually winning out these trades early on. What I want to look at, though, is just back to the jungle for just a moment. With the tempo advantage that Lava is setting for himself, it is going to put him in a much better standing to be able to take this Infernal Drake early on.
Yeah,
especially with the bot lane pressure he's going to have. as they hit level 6. So definitely could be looking to go for this Infernal Drake early and get his team snowballing ahead with the massive scaling bonuses you get from it.
Laba getting that early recall, going for those Mobies, and now Wuji going for a little bit of that pressure that we wanted, the mobility from the Talia, who's going to wrap around. Flash coming in from Lava, not going to connect the Cocoon on to Sword Art. They're going to try to just see if they can get on to Madness. They get the first blood picked up on the Tahm Kench. Madness having to run back to his tower, nowhere that he can go to help out his team.
Definitely well done by the bot lane there. I love what Wuji did. Pushed the wave in because he's got that wave priority mid lane. Managed to roam down, and Laba, like we said, he managed to get the tempo advantage from the jungle. Meant that he could get to that bot lane first, while Casa was still recalling. And that guaranteed the kill bot lane with a four-man bot. And of course, nice lead for Raze Gaming, as they're already sitting around 500 gold in the lead. And they don't really have to give up much for it.
Maple looks like he's going to be the next target for Laba, using those Moby Boots to great effectiveness. Going to land the Cocoon onto Maple, doing a little bit of damage, trying to see if they can get Wuji to help out just a little bit. Sword Art and Karsa both in the area. Going to jump right onto the Camille, who is able to get the repel. Picking up the kill is going to be Wuji, slamming them together. Karsa trying to do what he can. The top flash from Koala to get the Bloblets popped. They're just doing what they can. Getting Sword Art, just finishing off everything that they need. Coming out to a nice 4-0 start for Raze.
Not able to get the Zac out of there. And Sword Art goes down for his troubles as well. That's the 3-0. It looked to be going rough for Laba and Wuji for a little bit there as they get slammed together. But well done as they... Oh, God. They've managed to get already a 1.5k gold lead. They've already got a big advantage for Wuji in this matchup where they really needed to put Maple behind to get ahead in the game. And if they can deny Maple this late game scaling for as long as possible, it's going to do so well for them as we get into the replay. To see Laba just use, as you said, the Moby Boots, able to give him so much more movement speed to be able to cut down Maple here.
And great repel. Look at that repel.
Yeah, really nice repel timing. Maple does go down to one auto attack over the wall, but Koala and PK, this really comes down to the fact that they had the push priority in every lane, so people were able to roam there much faster.
Sword Art going to be caught out just a little bit by that Weaver's Wall. Koala able to wrap around, knocking up with the Justice Punch. Gray health. Going to just try to see if they can keep Sword Art alive. But sadly, Lil Fee's going to be able to just shut him down, keep him benched. Tahm Kench really not being able to prove his effectiveness quite yet.
As Gandhi once said, did you unbench the Kench or did the Kench bench you?
See, this answers the questions that we were asking earlier, too. We were really confused on how things were going to go, and clearly the Kench has been benched.
Yeah, he is going to be benched for now. Not dench enough, unfortunately, for him. As it's going to end up being a 0-3 scoreline early on in the game. This really doesn't speak to the fact that he should be playing this at all. And, I mean, I felt like it was really risky to pick from the start. This was a blind pick... Tahm Kench for Sword Art. I know Tahm Kench has had a fair amount of priority here in the LMS, but still, if you're not playing up against the likes of the Ashe, you're not playing up against the really heavy pick comps, I don't see any benefit of it at all.
To be honest, I almost feel like the entirety of the draft coming in from the Flash Wolves was very greedy. We see the Cassidy picked into the Talia, something that you have to know the Talia is going to always be able to shove in. And even the Vladimir into the Camille, while the Vladimir was picked before it, it's still a very aggressive, kind of cocky sort of pick for that top lane.
Yeah, it's really these scaling picks with, and of course, because they've drafted mostly losing lanes, it's not helping them at all. Bot lane has had some problems, as you see Lil V and Koala have been pushed in, but that's because they've really just prioritized getting this Galio as they really didn't want to ban it. So what they did, you could see what they did. They left Zac and Galio up, forcing to get the Zac first pick so they could get Galio. And if, of course, Flash Wolves picked Galio, they got Zac. By leaving these two OPs up and trading them, it's worked out very effectively for them.
Something that is surprising is the Galio not being banned away by Flash Wolves. Really would have expected that to stop
it's just Galio support. So.
Oh, and look at that. Just using the ultimatum to try to lock down that Cassidy, but using the Devour just to keep him safe for now. Lava going to be caught out under the tower. He's taken down, killed off by Maple. Gonna have Flash Wolves just able to just pick it up, No repel, going to save Llama today, but now Madness going to be fighting Little V. Not going to be able to get the Featherstorm, going to be dodging that away with the ultimate. Little V doing what he can on that Zyra. The wraparound coming in from Koala, seeing if they can go for the dive, but just going to back off.
He gets spotted out on the pink ward, going to deny any extra aggression coming through. But Lil V on this 2-0 scoreline into Madness at the minute does speak wonders for Lil V, as he's going to be able to have this really strong late game scaling that we do see generally from in the mid lane.
Yeah, that was close.
Just dodging the Q there from Zach. The stretching strikes aren't really going to be relevant at all. But nice fast feet from him, not even having boots. That's just purely of his own volition.
A lot of credit to Wuji on that play. Now looking towards this bot lane, we do see Lil V and Koala still having a little bit of a hard time into that Varus matchup, because Varus able to just clear out so well, being able to use those piercing arrows just to clear out minions consistently. Lil V's got to be careful too, because Sword Art playing very up front, wanting to make sure to try to put the aggression back onto Koala and Lil V. Really curious to see if we're going to see another gank coming in from Lava soon towards the bot side, or if he's just going to try to see if he can get another lane ahead, maybe try to get PK to really snowball like they did in Game 1. But right now, just going to have each lane pretty much resetting.
Once he's got that Trinity Force completed, he will have that very similar potential as he did last game to just come in, land a big Hextech ultimatum onto Maple, and then try and dive the mid lane. But I think he really needs something like the Tiamat to be able to push the wave a little bit faster than Moonblack now. As Moonblack started getting more points in his E, he can actually start to be able to push the wave back into PK. And really, PK just wants to turn that back around in his favor.
Karsa sneaking his way into this bush. Wants to see if they can go for a little dive onto Lil V and Koala. But they're being very smart about this play, not wanting to get too far out, having no vision on Karsa at all, knowing that he can jump from absurd ranges. They're just going to play it safe, stay under the tower.
Definitely wanting to just try and avoid getting dove by the Zac right now. Zac not really in the best place in terms of his current scoreline. Sitting 0-1-1, hasn't had that much of an impact on the game so far. And really, Raze Gaming showing that they're fully justified in letting this one slide through the draft, as it's worked out wonders. Just not really showing up in terms of any picks right now, although it does burn.
But they're going to knock him back using the Let's Bounce just to get PK under there. He had to use the ultimate just to try to see if he can keep himself safe. That's the hero's entrance. Going to lock down with 3-man taunt. That's going to be the kill onto the Vladimir, taking him out. Flashing coming in from Koala, but he's finished off from the Deathfire touch of Maple. The rest of the team of Rights just trying to get the tower. Lobbing in a little bit of a hurt, using the repel to dodge away from Carson, getting out of there with the flash. Sword Art trying to see if he can just survive. Chain of Corruption picking up the kill onto the Xayah, onto the Elise. The next one going to be Wuji, so that's going to be 3 kills picked up by Flash Wolves.
And Flash Wolves end up managing to find a good team fight for themselves. Raze Gaming greed too hard on the tower, and they fall down. All the health bars get destroyed. You see, they all came into it solo. And unfortunately for them, it is going to be a team fight loss. As we see the replay here, yeah, really just Karsa manages to land that big ultimate onto Camille to start this one off. Camille has to play really safe. The Galio ultimate hitting just a couple members, not dissuading too many people, but Moonblack gets caught by the taunt just as he comes up from the pool. That's going to be him going down. Really, it's just kind of fighting towards too close to the tower, too low health bars, too low mana bars, and this was really risky. But another brilliant repel there from Laba. Fast feet to dodge the piercing arrow, but it doesn't matter in the end as Maple just jumps over the wall directly on top of him. Yeah. That is going to be pretty rough.
Felt like just a little bit too much of an overcommitment coming in from Raze. They really felt like they had that fight, but they didn't respect that it was a 4v5 before. And yes, that is...
It's the Season 6 lane swap, boys, the classic.
Yeah,
Hit him with the classic.
We're going back in time.
We're gonna see Madness take to this tower. He's gonna get the first, the second tower of the game rather, for himself.
Oh, yeah.
Raze Gaming getting their second tower in response. Now they've got the mid lane opened up for themselves. It is really good for them to be able to get that bot lane tower too, but potentially a mistake as they're gonna give over Rift Herald off the back of this.
It's at 50%. We do see Wuji using that Weaver's Wall, gonna cut off Karsa. He will get slammed back by the Let's Bounce as well, but they're able to get the Bloblets popped out of the Zac. Sword Art gotta be careful with Chain of Corruption, did not land onto anybody. The rest of Rage trying to see if they can just show up using the ultimatum when Maple flashed away, so he's not able to go too far. Sword Art taking a lot of damage, getting the exhaust onto the Vladimir, seeing if they can just mitigate any of the damage coming in from him. They're able to pick it up. Moonblack falling down. The Rift Herald has reset, but that is gonna be Raze with the advantage.
And they collapse with the 5 members, knowing that Rift Herald could have potentially gone over as a trade, not wanting to just take the Mountain Dragon. They want this Rift Herald from themselves. They want the top tower, and they want to take down the champions.
Yeah, you can't say you blame them, especially because, like you had mentioned, if they get their full lineup, when it comes later to the season, you gotta expect that they're gonna come back into form. But if you're 1-1 against the top team, gonna look great for playoffs.
Definitely so, as really these other teams, you got to be thinking about the teams like Marchi, the teams like J-Team in the standings that will have to go against Flash Wolves at full strength. They won't have the advantage of having this game that they managed to pick up. So this is an extra game, an extra series rather, that puts you ahead of not only Flash Wolves, but your rivals as well, as you can't really expect someone like Marchi or J-Team to come in and beat Flash Wolves at full strength.
But we have to consider that this game is nowhere close to being over. We saw how long Flash Wolves were able to just drag the game on in Game 1. And with how close the game is looking to be this time around, might start seeing things play out a little bit more in Flash Wolves' favor when these power spikes start building up for the Kassadin and for the Vladimir.
Yeah, Kassadin having that GLP for himself, potentially looking for something along the lines of the Zhonyas, he's going to be very happy with himself and very happy with his scaling into the game, especially after Madness picks up another 3 kills as well. Definitely hopeful for them to be able to pick up this game if they get a big team fight, if they get these big item spikes like you say. But definitely Raze Gaming looking towards just snowballing off of this lead right now, as they're going to pick up another objective for themselves with this Mountain Dragon, potentially look to set up a wave top lane and get a top of the tower there as well. Getting all 3 towers would really just set them up to be able to fully push Vision deep into the enemy jungle and start to take control of the Baron Pit.
Almost surprised we didn't see Raze going in for the engage. They did find Madness, but he got devoured, eaten up, keeping safe by the Tahm Kench. Gotta see, keep our eyes on Lava, who is holding that Eye of the Rift Herald, and where they want to place that down. Can be able to really bully around Flash Wolves and try to see if they can swing a little bit more of the gold in their favor. Only sitting at about 600 gold. Nowhere near the advantage that they would like to be at this stage.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, really not finding enough of an advantage, as you say, having given over that big team fight in the mid lane to the Flash Wolves. It's going to set them up nicely to be able to scale into the late game if they are able to get that far, if they don't continue to fall down with the deficit here. But as it seems, they're going to be setting up for a top lane siege here with Laba using that Eye of the Rift Herald exactly on a ward, so we get a nice little view of the vision toggle there. This is going to force Moonblack to back off, as he doesn't want to die here. He's just going to give this tower over, but potentially they've got to try and find another play they can make across the map. And it looks like they're sending members mid lane.
Yeah, but the tower's falling so quickly. That boop coming in from Rift Herald, with PK still escorting, could go for some more pressure. Wuji able to clear effectively on that Talia. Not too much worry, though finding Karsa out, doing a little bit of poke to the Zac is going to be very nice to see.
Yeah, Karsa taking a bit of damage is going to potentially just back off for now. But the thing is, the bottom lane looks really risky right now.
Oh, but here comes Teleport. They're going to go for the fight. They use the hero's entrance just to lock down Karsa, getting the kill onto Madness as well. Sword Art just running away. They use the ultimatum in the backline onto Maple. He's trying to see if he can rift, walk his way to safety, but he can't. Picked up by Wuji.
And this is what they needed. They've managed to find a good team fight for themselves. Now they can look to try and get further from this. As they managed to take multiple members off the map. Now they can try and siege up this these other towers. They can try and get a bit more chip damage onto this tier 2 mid lane. As Moonblack is just going to continue pushing up top. This is really only Sword Art here to defend.
Yeah, not sure why the Vladimir hadn't already started backing. Really don't want to try to just go for a push that hard, especially when you know you're losing this tier 2 in the mid lane. Such a great opening of the map. Now we get to see the replay and how it all boiled down for Raze.
Yeah, you see it. It just ends up being that Karsa's taken a little bit lower at the start, as we were saying before. But they really just try and push it aggressively for Vision. And Karsa and Madness get completely caught out. Lil V is very safe from the Galio ultimate. So it doesn't really, there wasn't really any damage threats onto Raze Gaming for any of that fight. And while Maple was caught out on the side versus PK, he couldn't get into the fight with the rest of the members. He couldn't get onto Lil V. So it was a fairly easy team fight for them to pick up. As we see, now PK has the Trinity Force and the Tiamat, going to be able to have a lot of wave push for himself, and he's becoming that really big side lane threat as the game goes on.
Something that just kind of struck to my mind, what has to be Lil V on that Xayah? And going against something like the Kassadin, who usually wants to assassinate those 80 carries, very odd choice, because Maple's going to have a difficult time since that mobility that Xayah has built into her kit really does keep her safe from Maple being able to try to assassinate. And when you have something like the Camille that's able to lock down the Kassadin long enough to make it so the Xayah is never even in threat, goes back to that whole thing we were talking about before with a very interesting ban and pick ban phase coming in from the Flash Wolves.
Definitely. They targeted out 2 ADCs and then really just gave over the Xayah anyway. And this has really not worked out for them, as Lil V is currently sitting 4-1 and 2, has that double crit itemization for himself, and he's just going to be happy to scale as the game goes on, because he completely outscales the Varus. All he's lacking is the utility of the pick from the Chains of Corruption, and to be honest, the Varus doesn't really have many targets.
Ooh, wait, that was a steal.
Oh, he stole it!
That's what I was keeping quiet for a second. I was like, I'm wondering if those wins are going to take the red buff and swing them right over to that support. That is what you call unlucky for Madness. He's sadly not going to be sitting too happy after losing that.
All is fair in the winds of war.
That was a good one.
As he manages to take away the red buff for himself, stealing that away. Moonlight's taking a big chunk of damage.
He flashes away, even uses the Proto Belt. Going to use that Abyssal Voyage from Sword Art just to try to see if they can keep him safe. Tower getting sieged down a little bit, but with the team on the inside track, they're just going to make sure to put every single bit of vision down. Hold control around that Baron buff.
They managed to steal away the blue buff, and Camille having this pressure in the bot side versus Maple, not having to really send Wuji down there, really working out for them, as Wuji can just stay with this big 4-man unit. Well, they have so much damage, they have so much pick potential to be able to make.
Karsa wanted to go in as far as he could. The Let's Bound's going to grab Koala, put him back into the team. Weaver's Wall going to cut off Madness. Teleport's going to come in, but is it going to be in time? They pick up the kill onto the Tom Kent, Moonblack, and Maple here trying to see what they can do. Picking up the kill onto Lava is going to be what they can do, but everyone else is following for Flash Wolves. They got 2 of them in the front line, with both Maple and Karsa just having to run away. Only picking up the kill on the Spider Lady means that they're going to lose this tower because everyone else is dead.
And this is exactly the problem you were alluding to before. They want to get on and assassinate Lil V. He instantly ults to dodge the Elastic Slingshot. Even though he ults in the wrong direction, doesn't matter, as Koala's ult comes down on top of him. And he's just going to happily survive this up. He's going to happily take a few kills for himself. He's going to just allow his team to snowball even further ahead, currently sitting at a 6k gold lead, and they don't really have to worry about the Kassadin much right now if he is in this side lane, and they can engage with this 4-man unit.
That is also a problem we see with the Zac. You mentioned it. It's just not going to be able to lock down Little V, not going to be able to do anything. We even get to see that what you had literally said with the start of the fight and how it all progressed. Koala being the one dragged in by that Let's Bounce, not good.
Yeah, definitely a Koala being pulled into all on top of the ADC and the support. Landing that multi-man taunt didn't really do anything. And it actually made it negative for the team. But Vladimir ends up getting bursted as well. And it's just, Flash Wolves don't have the damage to take down all of these members right now. And that's going to end up getting worse and worse as the game goes on. As people will get tanky, people will get more damage, and people will find ways to respond with utility itemization to whatever you're trying to do. For example, Lil V can just get a GA as like maybe the 4th or the 5th item, and even if you do assassinate him, the Galio ultimate's going to come down on top of him, and he's still going to survive the fight.
Yeah, we can even just look up 2 Lockets of the Iron Solari picked up by Raze. There we go, I got it. I've been much better this game about that. But we see 2 Lockets of the Iron Solari picked up, both for Laba and for Koala. Gonna really just try to keep the shielding up for the team. Make it so that they can keep everyone safe. As long as these fights do drag out, they're really gonna be able to use that utility to their fullest benefit.
Definitely could be the case as the game goes on. But I'm looking at this Talia right now and seeing how much damage she'll be able to put out in these late game team fights, having only just completed the Rod of Ages by the looks of it. I think that's just the one stack on there so far. She's really looking to scale as the game goes on, do a lot more damage, and she's really one of these champions that can pump out a ton of late game damage as Madness blows his flash in response to the hook shot from Camille.
Good call.
Pulling that Attack on Titan 3D maneuver gear style.
Strangely enough, one of the few animes I never really could get into was Attack on Titan.
Well, speaking of Titan, he's going for that Titanic Hydra with the Jerem's Fist.
Yeah. Hey, that was Paul Blart level right there.
The Paul Blart level segue, exactly. Having that Jerem's Fist completed, yeah, he's going to be going for the much more tanky route, potentially getting the, once he's got these two items, just building full tank afterwards, as you can afford to do that, El Camille. With the amount of damage you have, you don't really have to worry about anything else other than just surviving the team fight after getting your utility down from your ultimate, from your hook shot.
Yeah, but look at this. Baron started up by Raze. They have the inside track with
Not
two
spotted
mountains
at all.
way too late on the blue ward. Not going to be able to spot them out. Maple just going to skirt around the battlefield, not able to actually engage. As Raze, they're able to back off with that huge objective just snuck right under the nose of Flash Wolves.
And that 25-minute Baron for themselves. Going to be looking to try and at least crack open that top lane tower, the last tower outside of the base, and then maybe look onto the inhibitor towers. It did take them a long time last game, and with another scaling teamfight composition from Flash Wolves, it could be another game going long as they get shut down potentially at the base, unable to break the inhibitors.
Only difference here, Maple not quite on the best wave clearing champion. The Cassiopeia definitely something that could make or break that fight. PK going to go really hard onto Moonblack.
Ooh.
Look at the damage he does. The Abyssal Voyage trying to come and see if they can save him. Using the exhaust onto the Camille, who's just going to hook shot over the wall. Trying to get that hero's entrance just to give the damage reduction. Weaver wall, cutting off both Madness, Moonblock, and Sword Art. But they're not actually going to go for the engage. They're just going to back off, see if they can go for the siege in the mid lane.
Really nice ultimate from Sword Art. Saves Moonblack's life. But in the meantime, this top lane, you look at Lava, you look at Lil V, they're having the red buff. This tower is going to go down. There's no way they can respond to this in time.
Look at the damage they deal with the two Mountain Drakes for Raze. They're just able to burst through everything. Karsa, he wants to fight. That is going to be the Featherstorm just to use to see if he can dodge away. Teleport going to come in with Moonblack right in the front line, using the hookshot to see if they can get onto anything. Wuji doing so much damage over to Madness. Karsa jumping back in, but he might have just sacrificed himself. Bloblets have been popped. They get the kill onto Karsa. They're looking for the game. They want to see if they can get anybody else going straight for that mid inhibitor tower.
I definitely want to break this one down. Having the wave there available, they can take the inhib. Look up to top lane now with that wave coming in. And of course, after all this, they can look towards the bot wave as well as Talia takes down Sword Art.
He had the Grey Health available, and he didn't use it. I'm confused.
Kent should be permanently benched after this series.
Yeah, look at that. Moonblack going to be the next one to fall. They're going to use the exhaust onto Maple, see if they can jump onto him, but he rift walks himself out of there. One Nexus falls. The second one going to go down. This game much quicker than the last one. The last sort of fight coming in from the Flash Wolves as they do pick up the kill onto the Talia, but they lose the Forest. They lose everyone else. The Nexus will just be whittled away slowly by Lil V as they wanted to get one last one onto Maple.
Just padding the stats there as the game ends, and this is the 2-0 from Raze. The first game a little lost a little bit of the cleanness in the late game, but this game much more clean. They got those big team fights they wanted, and they closed out the game effectively, and they shut down the Flash Wolves. A few picks there. The Kassadin pick not really working out. We've not really seen it work out recently in the LMS at all, as Westdoor struggled with the same pick. And of course, the Tom Kench still highly prioritized by Albus and of course Sword Art as well, but really not finding much justification for it in this game. It made a couple of good saves, but it just went down 0-3 early, and it lost so much pressure in lane.
And one of the biggest things that we really have to give a lot of credit to was Koala on that Galio, how strong he was, and really what he was able to do to help out, put that Tom Kench into that weak spot.
Yeah, definitely helping put him there. But I want to really look at PK this series. Once again, having a very strong performance in the side lane. dominating his opponent and actually managing to shut down Maple as well by keeping him locked down in that side lane. Really showed off what he can do on these champions. As we've seen him really play those sort of tanky carries thus far.
Yeah.
Tankier playmakers thus far. And now today going for the Jarvan and of course the Camille. It's nice to see him mixing it up. As Raze, we've been saying this already, but they definitely look like contenders for playoffs. They look like potentially contenders for top 3 as well, which of course gets you into the play-in stages at Worlds.
Yeah. And I really am excited to see how they play against AHQ. That is going to be one of their biggest challenges. Sure, they have J-Team still to face off, another team that has been a surprise undefeated team so far, but J-Team having played some of the lower standing teams, it's going to be interesting to see how everything does continue, if it does go in their favor, if they are able to take down HQ or Flash Wolves when Flash Wolves does finally get back to their full selves.
I'll be excited to see if Flash Wolves can start to make up their season, as really this is the problem for them. Going down 0-2 right now, it may have sorted out the players in terms of their behavioral issues, but how does it suit the team morale, as now they sit near bottom of the table? They're rubbing elbows with teams like Fireball right now.
Yeah, that's never a good thing to have. But with that, we are going to take a break as we get ready for our next series. So guys, don't go anywhere, as we're going to be watching the next one between Machi and AHQ. It's going to be between our next casters of Novum and Louis, and we'll see you shortly hereafter.
Look into my eyes and show me